Yes, daylight savings time is still happening in the United States, even though there's been many rumors for many years about it going out the window. We are approaching fall back, and I am here to tell you all of the tips to help your child get adjusted to daylight savings time without having their sleep completely wrecked. Hi, my name is Sarah, and as the lead certified pediatric sleep expert at Yours and Baby Sleep, I have helped hundreds of families get their sleep on track, and I cannot wait to help you adjust to daylight savings time. So let's talk about it. It'll be a very happy day when I don't have to help families troubleshoot through fall back and spring ahead, because this really affects our kids' sleep. I know it affects mine. I mean, for like a whole week, it's really hard to try and get adjusted to where the sun is and the shorter days and the earlier mornings. It's not gonna be the easiest thing. However, we can make adjustments slowly and gradually, or we can do it very quickly by ripping the Band-Aid off. I'm gonna give you a couple strategies and talk about what are the implications for losing an hour. This happens in November. In November, we fall back, meaning the clocks are set back by 1 hour. Instead of it being 8 p.m., it's actually going to be 7 p.m. on the clock. Internally, your body is going to feel like it's 8 p.m., but the clock is going to say it's 7 p.m. If you are a parent, that actually means that you lose an hour of your day, and I'm going to tell you why, but don't stress out about it. It's all good. We're going to get through it. So remember pre-kid life when it was daylight savings time? I vividly remember this day, and all of my friends would go out and we would say, we're going to go out to the bars and we're going to stay out 1 extra hour later because the clock is going to fall back in the middle of last call and we get a whole extra hour. Do you remember this? Yeah, don't do any of that when you have a kid, because they're going to wake up at the same time regardless of what the clock says. I would wake up that morning, that day after the daylight savings time change, or that morning of, and look at my clock and say, ooh, so it actually, my body says it's 10 p.m., but really the clock says or 10 a.m., but really the clock says it's 9 a.m., so I get to sleep another extra hour. And now I think how I slept till 10 a.m. and now I live 17 lifetimes before then is just totally beyond me. There's a few ways that we can help solve this and prep our children for the fall back. I'm going to give you the first way, which is to plan ahead of time for about a week. I do want to say the disclaimer that I've done this many times with many families, and if you're a type A person, or if you're really panicked about this hour time change, then this might make you feel better. However, the best strategy is actually going to be the second one that I give you. So take that with a grain of salt, really compare the two and decide which one makes you feel better and which one you think your child will adjust to, and then run with it from there. With a slow and gradual shift and adjustment to the time change, I want you to take your child's naps and every few days offer them 15 minutes later than what you normally would. So, for example, if your baby takes their first nap at 9 a.m., on the Saturday before daylight savings time, I want you to offer them the nap at 9:15, and then the rest of their naps follow, right? 15 minutes later than their usual time. Monday, I want you to offer the nap at 9:30. Wednesday, I want you to offer the nap at 9:45. And on Friday, I want you to offer the nap at 10 o'clock. So that by Sunday, 2 days after that, the 10 o'clock will actually be 9 o'clock. On the actual clock, and they're going to be back and adjusted to what their normal napping time would be by the clock. The same thing goes for bedtime. So if your child's bedtime is usually 7 p.m., every 2 days, move it later by 15 minutes until you reach an hour later bedtime, which will then totally align with an hour earlier bedtime once the clocks fall back on that Sunday morning. This method is really great for people who really want to plan ahead, for those of you who already have a locked-in set biological schedule. So it's really important that you're using biological sleep times and offering baby snaps at the same time every day in order for this method to be effective. If you're using wake times, it can be hard, right? Because you're kind of timing the nap based on the last nap and how do you push things forward and backward. The alternative to this is to just go with the flow and change things on Sunday. Let's talk about how we can do that. On Sunday morning, if your child usually wakes up at 6:30 in the morning, they're still going to wake up when their body feels like it's 6:30. The difference being your clock is going to say 5:30. And this is why grown-ups have no fun. Because you do not get an extra hour. You do not get to collect $200 and pass go. You have to collect your baby out of the crib and you've got to feed them and start your day at an ungodly hour. But it's okay because we're going to get them over that hump. And on Sunday, this is the time to do that. After you start your day at an ungodly hour, the biggest piece of advice I can give to you is offer them the nap at the same time they usually do prior to the fall back, okay? So again, this is where using biological sleep times is so helpful with our children's sleep. But if your child typically takes a nap at 9 a.m., it's going to be a really big push for them to make it to 9 a.m. on the clock. They woke up at 5:30. 9 a.m. on the clock is 3.5 hours from then. Technically in their body, it's going to be 10 o'clock. They're going to be cranky, they're going to be fussy, nobody's going to be happy, and I understand that. But the best way to get over this hour time difference is just to begin as you mean to go. Look at your clock, offer them a nap, and this is the way we're going to prevent them from waking up at 5:30 tomorrow morning, which is the ultimate goal. If you are using wake windows, which again for the third time in this video, I really recommend you move away from, but if that's something that works for your family and your wake window is typically 2 hours from wake up time, and your wake up time is typically 6:30 in the morning, then that would set your first nap around 8:30 or 2 hours from the 6:30 waking. What I want you to do is lock in the 2-hour wake window from the time that they usually wake up prior to daylight savings time. So again, your child might be up at 5:30, in their body at 6:30. So what is 2 hours from 6:30? 8:30. I don't want you to put them down for a nap any earlier than 8:30 in the morning in order to place all of the rest of the naps at an appropriate time during the day and get them adjusted to the time change. Technically, it takes about 1 day for every 1 hour of time change for our bodies to adjust. I don't find that to be the case in this circumstance. I just find that it takes a while for our bodies to adjust. And I think it has something to do with just the days get much darker, the sun isn't out. It's hard for our circadian rhythms to adjust when there isn't sunlight at the same times that we've been used to it all summer long. And that's okay. So I want you to give yourself and your child some grace as your body is moving through this adjustment. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes the whole family about a week to get back on track. And really, as you're trying to get back on track, the biggest piece of advice to make sure that you're not dealing with early morning wakings is to really be firm about locking in that first nap time in order to not get to bed too early, which then reinforces the early morning waking. I love helping families with all of these sleep transitions, and if you are prepping for daylight savings and would like any help, please leave a comment or a question below, and I'd love to talk to you about it and help you troubleshoot. I also work with families one-on-one, so head over to my website, yourzenbabysleep.com. Check out the ways that I work with you either in one-on-one or in group settings, and feel free to book a call with me. As always, please let me know if you found this information helpful by giving it a like, and be the first to get my videos when they are published by subscribing to my channel. From my living room to yours, thank you so much for joining me today, and sweet dreams.